I got roasted in the comments on my last Wemby rant, and everyone kept saying if he elbowed someone, how is he soft? And I'm like, that's actually the definition of being soft. He hits him in the neck because he's a baby. That doesn't make you not soft. If Naz Reid hit him and he got up and punched him, or if you thought that he might, then he's not soft. But he's soft. He's Charmin soft.
Prove Matt right, Wemby. Prove Matt right.
Chet Holmgren. He's committing larceny. This guy played 32 minutes, took 2 shots.
The margin of victory was the biggest in that game span in NBA history, regardless if it was playoffs or regular season. So even if it was just a regular season, the type of run that they were going on had never been seen before.
Have it on good word that this series is going 7 games. Does that mean that the NBA is cheating to make it go 7 games? I think it does. They got to come out and just get into Wemby's chest, man. He doesn't want it, bro. He does not want it. He wants it a little more than Chet does, but not much more.
The Garden, New York Knicks, back in the NBA Finals. Madison Square Garden, New York, New York. It's going to be wild. The Knicks fans have been starving for this.
Welcome back to the Can't Teach Taste podcast with your boys Matt Gannum and Todd Tomlinson. The finals have arrived, my man. Your boys are sitting pretty, rested, chilling, ready to go to San Antonio and sign up to win in game 1. How you feeling?
Let's fucking go, man. Hyped up. Finally got the matchup, and I think it's a matchup we were looking for. So excited to see, my boys, the Knicks, go out there and try to win their first championship in forever. So New York's on fire right now. To your point, they've been resting for a minute. So we'll get into what that could lead to in game 1 a little bit later. Could be the gift or the curse, but feeling good, man. This is what I wanted to see. I was sick of OKC, and I think the San Antonio Knicks matchup is it's going to be a good one, man. I think they match up well together. So let's get it.
I'll say this, man. Got it on a good accord that the Knicks brass, ownership, C-suite level folks wanted San Antonio a whole lot more than they wanted OKC. So as you could tell, I've been wearing these New York Knicks 3s every day until this series is over. These boys need to win this one, man. I'm out here. Shout out New York Knicks. Shout out Dolan. Shout out Madison Square Garden, man. I'm ready. I'm hyped. Hopefully we can see the Knicks close this one down. But before we do that, man, let's get into these Western Conference Finals. Obviously, 7 games at Oklahoma City. It was, I don't know if I remember a time in a game 7 where a supposed, I don't want to say supposed, I should say star player, some, ESPN pundits will say the most talented player in the NBA, blah, blah, blah. But, Victor Wembanyama, and real quick before we start, we have some family members that live in San Antonio. Please turn this episode off right now. You're not going to like what I have to say. They were texting me last night, like sending me memes of Wemby, and I'm like, you need to send me a meme of somebody else. Send anybody else. And you could find the Dylan Harper meme was the only one I could find to send back, and it was when Wemby elbowed Naz Reid in the neck. There isn't even anyone. But, turn this off. Victor Wembanyama was embarrassing on many levels. Embarrassing. He took 5 shots in the second half of a close game 7, 0 of 3 in the third quarter, 1 of 2 in the fourth quarter. He contributed 2 points. Plus, if he made free throws, he did make a few free throws. For the Spurs, Champagnie 20, De'Aaron Fox 15, which they need to trade De'Aaron Fox. Stephon Castle 16, Harper 12, Keldon Johnson 11, Vassell 11, Wemby 22, played 41 minutes, had 7 rebounds. Took 5 shots in the second half. The Spurs shot the lights out. So shout out to the depth. Shout out to the young kids on the team. Obviously, De'Aaron Fox, the only veteran, balled out. Wemby, man, he's not ready for it. He doesn't want it. Same stuff I said before. Obviously, he has flashes and moments where he's hitting long threes and doing all of that. And obviously his only bucket was a lob in the fourth quarter, right? So his only bucket in the second half was a lob, but embarrassing performance by Wemby. I don't even want to go into how embarrassing it was. After the game, after the whistle goes off, right? Everyone's like, good game. Wemby's acting like he just won his three-peat. Visibly crying, hugging everyone, Like it was like how Jordan won the first chip after his dad passed. It was literally that dramatic. Um, and Allen, my man, Allen's running a marathon right now. But when you edit this pod, man, plug in the Kobe Bryant. We're not done yet when he's up 2-0 in the finals because he needs that energy. Yeah, we're not done. Yeah, we're not done. So, my take is the Spurs played really well. They're young. They have an embarrassment of riches, from a depth standpoint. I mean, obviously, even Carter Bryant could come in and play meaningful minutes, play defense, go to the rim. He had a couple nice takes last night. But Wemby, man, didn't show up. And these boys held it down for him. At the same time, man, Shea balled out 35 points, shot well, was efficient from the field. He shot about the median part of free throws, where I'm like, if he gets in the 8 to 9 range, it's a coin flip. He got 11. So I thought above 10 would be a win, but it wasn't. He wasn't foul baiting really. I wish he did. Maybe they would have won, but um, you know, there's a criminal at large. Somebody needs to go find Chet Holmgren. He's committing larceny. This guy played 32 minutes, took 2 shots. I mean, criminal, like terrified of Wemby, bro. Did not want any part of it. I can't believe it. I mean, obviously, if J Dub or IJ play, I mean, the real difference was IJ and Jared McCain. Jared McCain played IJ's minutes. Jared McCain is a gun. If he gave it a little bit longer and let the shots come just a little bit more to him, I think he would have been a lot more impactful. But he was he wanted to make an impact, so that's a good thing. But a lot of his shots were rushed, and obviously not having J Dub hurts. But if Chet plays like a max player, man, I think the Knicks are probably playing OKC. I could go on and on about Wemby for hours, but I'll let what do you think, bro?
Well, let me just say, first of all, I didn't see the game. So to my boy Curtis Schilling, who got married yesterday, you're the only man who I'd miss Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals for. I don't know why the fuck you would schedule your wedding on a day, that could possibly be, a Game 7 to the NBA Finals. I'm sure you had nothing to do with it. Obviously, you had no way of knowing, but you're the only one I would miss that game for. And I did pull my phone out a couple of times, like during speeches and stuff, and I was getting side-eyed, but, I saw some of it, right? So I looked at the stats. I was surprised on, especially the Chet stuff that you were saying. He's getting dragged. He's getting fucking dragged through the mud right now. I didn't see, the Wemby's performance in the second half. We all know how you feel about Wemby. I, on the other hand, I think Wemby's a great player. Could be a chance to be maybe one of the greatest players ever, just with his skill level and size. But I hope that everything you're saying is true in this next series too, and how you feel, right? So I don't hate Wemby, but I hate him starting now until the series is over. So, but to your point, I don't know. I think the Knicks, for real, might have preferred to face last night's version of the Thunder but you don't know if Williams would come back or Mitchell was going to come back. You didn't know that. But without those two, that's a little bit of a different team. To your point, though, this Spurs team, they got talent, man. So you look at, from Castle and Harper, he's a star in the making, man.
He's a
great
star
player. It makes Fox expendable, and you can get more assets by moving Fox maybe in the offseason. They're trying to move him. But Fox is still a great player. Champagny and all those guys can hit shots, man. And then you got the bench, and to your point, Carter Bryant can come in and give you minutes and play defense, and they got guys that can pick up the slack when Wembanyama is not playing his best. But I could see it though, like to your point, and Wembanyama, so he's still so young, obviously, so he'll have those games like he had in Game 1 where he's just dominant, and there's other games where he'll play well, but he'll disappear in the second half and not have that killer instinct, so to speak. But he's such a talented player, man. It can affect and change a whole game. So, but we can get into it in a second. I think the Knicks have some good matchups for him. It'll be interesting. But Chet Holmgren, for the amount of money he's being paid, he has to be the second best player last night. Has to be. You can't show up and score 4 points and shoot twice or whatever the fuck he did. That's crazy. You got, SGA came out and played like you're supposed to play. And if you're a max player, I mean, that's just unacceptable, man. It's robbery. I don't even know what to call it, honestly. And I didn't see the game, but if you look at the stat, it was like I couldn't even believe that.
I mean, they took him out with a minute and a half left in the game, and it was like a 6-point game because he literally would get the ball, he'd stand in the corner, he'd run to the next corner, he'd run to the next corner, and every time he got the ball, he'd pass. He didn't want any part of Wemby. But you you kind of saw that like going into, 5, 6, and 7. He just didn't really want it. I think he had like 12 points in game 5 that they won.
Mm-hmm.
But like he didn't want it, man. And obviously I always thought Chet was, I mean, they're all corny, but I don't really mess. I don't like Chet, bro. They're all corny,
Yeah.
man. He's corny. At least he goes to the
Yeah.
barber. Like he goes to the barber. Your boy AR-15 has never seen a barber before. But he goes to barber. Is not a great cut, but at least it's something. But he's so corny, man. And like and what's crazy is Reggie Miller was like, "Oh, AJ Mitchell's really the third option." Right? He said that like at some point in the fourth quarter last night when Chet wasn't playing. I'm like, dude, Chet's a max player. He needs to be the third option. To your point, he should be the second option. He should be taking 15 shots in a game without J Dub and without AJ, and he didn't. He didn't want to. Caruso, I mean, dude, Caruso was 2 for 12 at halftime. I think like that. Like he was trying. I mean, he was going to the hoop. Obviously,
Yeah.
Wemby. Anytime Wemby's in the game, nobody really feels super comfortable around the hoop. You know what I mean? Like when they're going anywhere near the mid range, like into the paint, they don't feel comfortable. So Caruso was off, but he was trying. Shea was obviously super efficient, but man, I mean, dude. Also, I still don't know why I'm the only person that dislikes Wemby. Obviously, people dislike Shea more, which I get. I dislike Shea more. I like Shea. It's weird because when I watch Shea play basketball, I hate watching him play basketball because of how he flops. Although he didn't
Yep.
he didn't as much last night, but still I don't like it. But when you watch him in a post interview, he's like, "Man, we didn't achieve our goals. Like this is just not what we wanted." Like, and I like him from that standpoint, which is
For
crazy to say
sure.
because I don't like him on the court. I don't like Wemby. Like Wemby in his great moments is great to watch, right? I don't like when he throws fits. I don't like that he's telling people to foul people. I don't like that he's elbowing Naz Reid. I don't like any
Mm-hmm.
of that, man. You've been the most talented person and the biggest mismatch your entire life for every minute of every game you've ever played until sometimes recently. So it's like, obviously, it's hard to deal with that, I think, for him. And it bothers me, dude. It reminds me of the kids who grew up that never worked a day in their life, that drove nice cars and got their parents' businesses handed down to them and stuff like that. He's like that. I think. I don't think he's like LeBron. Like I think he'll develop that over time. Like LeBron wasn't like that bad in the beginning. Like LeBron obviously developed his killer instinct and his like grit and stuff over time because he grew up the same way, right? Like he was always the best player, but
It's
it really
different.
bugs. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You give me your
No, like
perspective as a LeBron fan who you followed him way more than I have.
you made a great point though earlier, by the way, that Wembanyama acted after they won. It was kind of like a little odd to me, how emotional and it did look. Like the way he was acting was like they won the finals, which for the Knicks could be good. Like the emotion and and you didn't won anything yet, right? But I do know that he wants to win. That's one thing I do know. Like he wants to win. You could see it even during the Olympics when they lost the gold medal game. And that was probably emotional because it was in France and all that shit, right? But his emotions and stuff. I don't know. Like it's hard to put my finger on it. He's like I think probably a little immature in that sense still. Like to your point, like he's immature with some of the stuff he still does and the way he's acting. You like to see the emotion, like it means a lot to him. But I mean, damn, bro, like that means nothing. Like like crying and hugging. It's like it's not time to pop champagne, man. The biggest series is still to come. So this means nothing. No one, I can't remember. I can't walk you through who won the Western Conference Finals. You know what I mean, or who got lost or whatever. You only remember who the champions were. You don't care about that other shit. You don't hang banners for winning the Western Conference or the Eastern Conference. So, but to your point, there is something to be said with having to cut your teeth and not be the best player and then like grind and having to deal with that. And when you're always the best player, you don't face as much adversity. Although when you're coming up as the best player, there is a lot of expectations and pressure that comes along with that. And LeBron, more than anybody, had to deal with that. And I think that made him tough and just carved like just a toughness. I think in him from that perspective. So, but I agree. Like LeBron at this point of his career was different. And, Wemby's just he's young and still trying to figure it out. But the emotions are so up and down, and that's gonna work against you in in the finals, I think. But we'll see, man. I did think
He,
it was good, though how much they were celebrating after winning. I don't know if they just thought they weren't going to win, or OKC was the big bad wolf, and it was the hill they finally got over, and they didn't think they were going to, or I don't know. But It'll be interesting, dude. It really will. I'm so intrigued by how this series is going to go.
Yeah, man. Again, the effort, the things that bug me the most, and we could say the same for Chet, obviously, but 5 field goal attempts in a half that you probably played 20 minutes in, and so you have 7 rebounds in the whole game. I think he had 6 or 5 in the first half, right? So what the effort? I don't want to say the effort's not there because he's trying. To your point, if you remember when I was interviewing Tim Tebow and I asked him about love to win or hate to lose, my money is on Wemby loves to win. He kept saying, I want to win so bad, and he's crying, and I want to win so bad. But I don't think like it's not because he's losing. Like I think that maybe that'll flip in him, but I think that's the
Mm-hmm.
difference. You can see
Mm-hmm.
it in the other players' faces. Like Shea's face when he's getting interviewed after a loss. There's less emotion there than what Wemby has for winning. And like Shea is thinking like, what the hell are we gonna do? Like I'm sure he's
Mm-hmm.
not gonna go on the podium and be like, damn, Chet's a max player. Should we trade him and picks for Giannis? Right? Like I don't know what he's thinking, but he's thinking that shit. He's just not saying it. Right? You know?
Of course.
Right? So it's like, so we'll see what Wemby does. Wemby has shown he struggles on the road. And he in that series he played well in 3 out of their 4 wins. Last night he didn't play well, but he was the reason they won 2 of those games. The game one and game three. Game one
Incredible.
specifically, he went out and won game
Yeah.
one on the road. He did that, and he didn't show up on the road one more time, but he did play really well in that game. I think he had the 40 and 20 game or
He was
whatever that
incredible
was.
in that game. Yeah, he was
Nasty. I
incredible in
mean, he
that
was
game.
inside, outside, mid range, and like my key to him for the game was like, how is he going to start? Is he going to start shooting threes? And he started in the mid. Like he went to the mid range, got a jump shot off the glass, went to the hoop. I was like, all right, that's the Wemby that they need. And then he didn't. He shot okay from. I think he was like 3 or 5 or 3 or 6 from three. He didn't really shoot a lot of threes, but in the third quarter, when shit started getting dicey, that's when you saw the step back shit, air like half air ball three, like right
Mm-hmm.
off the side of the rim, shit like brick, like not even close. And you could just tell it getting to him. You know what I mean? When it got like into it. So we'll see. Obviously, you live and you learn, but I don't think we need to go off on Wemby anymore. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. I think eventually, obviously, he has the potential to be a GOAT, be a top 5 or 10 player easily. Obviously, he's got the
Easily.
talent, he's got the size. If he stays healthy, he's talented as you could be, dribble the ball, do everything, pass, shoot, play defense, block shots, whatever. Um, but they still got to do it. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I was thinking, obviously, and again, maybe we dig real quick into the offseason and what OKC's offseason could look like before we hop into the finals, man. Because
Yeah.
obviously,
Let's do it.
they got 3 max players and J Dub, Shea, and Chet,
Chet. Mm-hmm.
right? They've got a million picks. I mean, I think they have 2 first-round picks almost every year, plus second-round picks. This year they have two, like 11 and what is it? They have 12 and 17. I
Mm-hmm.
think the Warriors are 11, they're 12.
Crazy.
So, right. The thought is you have a couple ways you go. I mean, I think if you can get off Chet for anything decent, you do. I don't know how they feel because obviously if J Dub plays, they win. If IJ Mitchell plays, they might win. But if Chet shows up, they win. And he didn't.
Yeah.
And he was healthy. And he looked disengaged and terrified. Like, I mean, I don't know a time where I've seen a max type player, an all-star caliber player, look that terrified going into a game and you could just see it. So you either get off Chet or maybe you trade 12 and 17 or 12 and 14 or whatever they are, and maybe another one, and you get Caleb Wilson, right? Because I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's a better Chet, maybe. I don't know. Um, but I don't think. I mean, you have so many resources. You could stand pat, and you could, just bolster through the draft, and hopefully you pay the right people and draft these young players, and you look like a better version of OKC or San Antonio. I don't know, man. What are you doing, man? My gut tells me if you can get off a Chet, you get off a Chet after that because he can't freaking play Wemby every year and play like that.
Yeah, my gut though is that they stand pat because to your point, they're probably thinking to themselves, if we had Williams and Mitchell playing, we're winning the series, right? If they're both healthy, we're winning the series, like no questions asked. McCain came over partially through the year. You incorporate him more, full year under the belt with McCain, and they're still so deep, and they got the picks, and so my gut is that they stand pat. But they in the building. I'm always curious on like how they feel in the building because you about Chet, right? Because we see it, but in the building they got to be having conversations, man. And I think that listen, if you're a GM, you listen to everything, and if you think you can get, you know, so some good assets for Chet because you don't think he's it because you have to face Wemby, man. Now it's going through Wemby, period. Right. So whoever you trade Chet for, you have to get somebody who can match up with Wemby. And Chet, no one really matches up with Wemby because he's like a unicorn, but Chet physically, they're both kind of built, they're lanky, the frame. Chet can kind of shoot from the outside. He can pull Wemby away from the basket. Like, there's things about Chet that you think can kind of, it won't offset Wemby because Wemby's better. But if you're going to trade Chet, then you would need like, a Giannis or somebody because it's going through Wemby. So now all OKC, and Wemby's going to continue to get better, whether we fucking like it or not. He just is, right?
Way
So
better.
if you're OKC, the only thing you're thinking about now is the Spurs, right? And you're looking at like people like Wemby and Harper and these guys that are going to be around, and how can we match up, against those guys? And obviously, you got SGA and if Williams is healthy, but the main thing is Wemby. So you're building the whole thing around that. So if you're getting rid of Chet, you got to find, an answer because you pull Chet off, then you replace him with, a small forward or somebody like who's gonna guard Wemby. So I think that they stand pat and maybe hopefully Chet is a learning experience and he gets better. But I don't know how they feel in the building because that was like unforgivable, bro. Because he's supposed to be last night. He had to be your second player. I guess in all actuality, he's really your third because Williams is probably considered a better player than him for sure. But the fuck,
Well, dude,
just
with
I kid. It's wild. It's
I,
wild.
I'm I'm
So
I'm living. I agree. I'm living in the world of like we went big three. You had Bron, Bosch, and Wade, and then you had
mm-hmm,
the Warriors, and like then it kind of
mm-hmm,
like came off of the big three, right? You
mm-hmm.
don't want to be too top heavy because then you have no depth. But
Agree.
OKC's so deep, right? They're playing 10 or 11, but they're not top heavy enough. And I don't know, like, obviously Jalen Williams is a he didn't make the All-Star game because of the games he didn't play, but he's an All-Star level player. I mean, is he a borderline Team USA player in 4 years or whatever? Maybe, I don't know. But
Yeah. Right.
they're not top heavy enough
Mm-hmm.
almost. Like you have SGA, and there's a huge gap from SGA to J Dub and Chet. And SGA is arguably the best player, so maybe. But like,
Sure.
it's just, I feel like, what are you going to do? You're going to draft a 12 and a 14, so you're going to get a Carter Bryant and another. I mean, Harper obviously is really good, but let's just say you get two Carter Bryants, right, or whatever you get. Like, there's no room for that. You need to upgrade the people that are playing 30 minutes a night. I think for them, or obviously you can say that they're just going to stay healthy, but you're just going to put these guys on the bench, like trade Topic. He's never going to play, right? And he
Right.
shouldn't, but like they're so deep all the way down. I just don't know if that's enough because you're going to play the Lakers, right? Maybe LeBron takes a discount and obviously they got to get rid of AR, but maybe they get a little better. And then when you're
Mm-hmm.
top heavy, if you're not fully healthy, you might have a hard time against them, even though you're way better. So it's like,
Yeah.
I guess they have to look at that to me. Like, I don't want them to get too top heavy where you trade Chet and AJ and someone and you get like a player that's a little better than Chet or something like that. You don't want that, but at the same time, like
Agree.
your starting lineup isn't your bench players. It was almost like with just J Dub out, like it was almost like it was the same team. Like nobody even looked at the fact in the second round that J Dub was out, and even in this, it's like they're still fucking beating people by 20. So it's like
Yeah.
maybe you upgrade Chet. I don't know. I, it, I don't know. I just feel like they got to
Yeah.
do something. It can't stay the same because Wemby's getting better, Harper's getting better, Vassell, Castle, they're getting better. Maybe they get off of Fox and get something else. And I mean, then they got like 7 or 6 like really good players, and they
Mm-hmm.
maybe they upgrade Cornette, although Cornette's like kind of playing all right, man. So it's like Carter Bryant's going to get better. Ron Harper or Dylan Harper's going to get a lot better, dude.
A lot
Like
better. He's
a
great.
lot better, dude. He's going to be an all-star for sure. He's
Of
a
course.
beast, bro. And he
He's a
doesn't look
great
like he's
player.
20. Like he's nasty. So,
We'll
you
have to
know,
go back, man. Before the season even started, we were talking about they need Fox. It took Harper a while to get going, but before the season even started, we were saying that Fox, like they can move him and get more pieces because we thought Harper was going to be great, and I
he
agree. I think
is.
maybe the Thunder though, the Thunder could be thinking though, like this core and what we have has already winning championships, so we know they can do it,
Dude,
and we have the ability to do it if we're just healthy. I'm just saying, like I don't know, that's probably how they're thinking, um,
uh,
but you, you got to keep getting better. You just have to, yeah. If you can find ways to get better, you get better. If that
you're
means
not
moving
trying to win
Chet,
championships for 10 years, though, right? So, like, you could keep drafting and try to, like, the Warriors got into that where they kept trying to, like, and look, they're not in the same spot as the Warriors. They don't have any older players, but, like, you can't do both. The Warriors try to
mm-hmm.
do both, which was keep the veterans and then keep the youth when they had like Wiseman and Kuminga and whatever. It's like I feel like you just pick a 5-year stretch and you try to win 3. So
Hmm.
are they going to do that? And you look at last year. First of all, if Aaron Gordon's healthy, maybe Denver wins last year. And
Maybe.
they also went 7 games with the fucking Pacers, who lost. Obviously, they lost Miles Turner and they don't have Halliburton, but they're the worst team in the NBA. So, like, I'm not saying that it didn't count because it obviously counted. It was a great championship, but it wasn't like they were the overwhelmingly best team. They came out hot and then they lost like fucking 8 out of 10. And people were like, all right, they're a normal 1 seed. And they lost.
Yeah.
So, um, you know, they did win the chip, but they also easily could have lost last year, just like they did this year. It looks very similar. Obviously, last year they were healthy. If they had J Dub out last year, they would have lost to Denver a million. They would have lost in 5 or 6.
And if Halliburton didn't get hurt, man, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Halliburton was balling at
How,
the last year. Like they
how
could
did
have lost to the
Indiana take
Pacers.
them? Yeah, they couldn't have thought like we got to stay pat. They just Indiana. Look, obviously, I think the Knicks are a better team this year than Indiana was. The Knicks maybe had the
Yeah.
easiest run to get to the finals of all time, possibly. But
But we're gonna talk
like,
about that. We're gonna talk
yeah.
about that.
But at the same time, like Indiana's not a great team, right? By any stretch, they're not going to be in the mix for a championship probably ever again, as constructed, anyways. So,
Hmm.
so you beat them, and then you beat Denver with a hurt Aaron Gordon in Game 7. So like the writing's on the wall that maybe because SGA, I'm not saying he's not going to get better, but he's a two-way player. He's going to get 35. He can get to the free throw line. He can shoot at every level. And he also is the only player that's a top like 5 player at that position that actually fucking plays defense. Like
Sure.
he plays
Yeah.
both ends of the floor. Like he's going to get better, but like his betters will be spurts. They'll be like new moves and new shots. It's not going to be like Dylan Harper might take a huge step next year. SGA can't probably take those steps anymore. Wemby might take that step. So
Yeah.
I would stress OKC to do something. They don't need to go crazy. You don't need to overreact. But if you can take a first round pick in 2030 and a first round pick in 2029 and Chet and turn it into a Giannis, where you have Giannis is 30 years old, you have 5 years. Like, I mean, Giannis is that dude, man. Giannis wants to win. He's that dude. I'm not saying that's what they should do. Someone's going to do that, obviously. But I mean, there's not much else they could really do because, to your point, like Wemby's like Chet's a broken down Wemby, like a Wemby light, right? He's tall, skinny, can shoot and dribble. He should be able to take him away from the basket, all the things you said. So you got to replace. Like Giannis could play that role. I mean, obviously he's
Of
not going to shoot the
course.
ball as well as Chet,
Of
but he's
course.
also tougher and he can body and he could post up Wemby and stuff like that, which Chet can't do. Chet doesn't.
Of
Chet's scared
course.
of it.
Well,
So
I mean, it's Giannis is. I mean, it's not even close. He's in a different stratosphere than Chet. So if they had, Giannis for Chet,
they could get
um,
Giannis if they want him. I'm
I,
not sure they
I
should,
would.
but they could.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, if you can get him, maybe you do it. Because to your point, you have a window with SGA's at the peak of his career. You try to run, 2 or 3 in a row with Giannis and some of those young guys. I don't know who else you have to give up, but some that you give up Chad a bunch of picks, and you want to try to keep Mitchell and some of those other guys if you can. But fuck, I mean, that'd be something. If I would do that if
Yeah,
I
I
was
feel
you.
like you have to. I mean,
Yeah, you have to.
and also this is going to sound crazy. One of the other things that bugs me about Wemby, obviously Wemby's the first of his kind. He's the most coordinated, tall, like crazy tall person we've ever seen. We're going to see more. Are they going to be as good as Wemby? Probably not. But we're going to see more. There's players playing into their 40s. You have like all of these things that are happening that we've never seen, right? Like it was crazy what Tom Brady did. Then it was crazy what LeBron did, but people are going to keep doing it. Maybe not at that level, but I think we'll start to see more of these tall folks coming out of like Eastern Europe and stuff that play European style basketball that can handle the ball and dribble and stuff. And maybe even coming out of the States because 20 years ago in the States, if you're 7'3", you're not even trying to dribble the ball or shoot the ball. You're trying to go down
Game's
low.
changed. Yeah, the
Yeah, the
game's
game's
changed,
different.
man. You're on the block. The game's completely different. So, um, yeah, but to your point, I mean, yeah, with advancements and just medicine and training, and the game is again, completely changed. So now you watch high school, and it's positionless basketball almost. It's not the traditional back to the basket big man. Even a Jokic who, for all intents and purposes, is that he's the guy's shooting threes. He can handle the ball and pass the ball, and yeah, the game has completely changed. And if you can't do those things, you're just not as valuable or as good of a player. So. Um, So yeah, it'll be interesting. If I'm a Thunder, I look at trying to improve, but it doesn't mean that if they stand pat, they still can't make a run next year. But everything has to be based around Wemby and the Spurs.
Has to.
Yeah.
Well, shit. Crazy series, man. We both thought OKC was going to win. I think I thought OKC was going to win in 5 or 6. Man, I obviously I didn't know J Dub's not playing most of the series because he played in Game 6, but he didn't really play. He actually probably made them worse because he was so hurt, and they lost. And here we are. So man, now we got the Knicks. Who I'll let you start with the Knicks, but obviously they played the Hawks, who got swept. And then Philly, who
No,
shit.
they beat the Hawks. The Hawks beat them twice, brother. The Hawks beat the
Oh,
Knicks. It's
twice by
only two
one.
games
They beat them twice
by
by one.
one,
By
but
one.
twice by one, and then they swept the
And
Sixers
then
and obviously swept
and then
Cleveland.
sweep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sweep. So
So
this is
you
what I'll
had
say.
Jonathan Kuminga and your boy Jalen
Yeah.
Johnson, first time All Star. Tough first round matchup for them, but
That's what
bro,
happens, though, dude. Like
eh,
your first round matchup. Let me say this. I'm hearing a lot of narrative about the Knicks' path. Obviously, you can only play
oh,
who
dude,
you
you can't
get,
be mad
right?
at it. I'm gonna talk
But
shit,
this is
but
no. But this is the thing. Like last year, for example, the Thunder played on their path to the finals. The 8th seed, the 4th seed, the 6th seed, and the 4th seed again. So if you look back in history, you know what I mean. A lot of these teams, if you look at the seeds and the teams that they're playing and some of the injuries that they faced and even if you look at what the Spurs did, obviously they just beat. So the Spurs beat Portland. Well, come on, Avi's
yeah,
the
that's
best
not
player, right?
that's a tough
And then
playoff
they
team. That's
and then
borderline. Yeah.
they fucking play the Timberwolves with Ant clearly wasn't 100%. DiVincenzo's out, right? They play them, right? And then they just play they beat OKC, but without Williams and Mitchell. So like the path, like and the thing too, if the Knicks were winning these series in 7 games or barely scraping by, they are fucking annihilating these teams, sweeping. The margin of victory was the biggest in that game span in NBA history, regardless if it was playoffs or regular season. So even if it was just a regular season, the type of run that they were going on had never been seen before. So I mean, fuck, were they playing like the top level West teams? No, but at the end of the day, to win a championship, you got to beat the best team from the other conference. So it doesn't really matter. You're going to have to beat the San Antonio Spurs to win a chip, or it doesn't matter. And blame the fucking Pistons for
They suck, man.
terrible,
They
and
fucking
Boston and the Celtics for losing to the
they
and
suck. They're gonna blow the
Tatum
Celtics.
didn't.
Oh,
You got
yeah.
to like Tatum.
You
Of
gotta blow
course,
them
okay.
up, man.
Tatum didn't even play Game 7, but they had him the rest of the series, and the Celtics have been playing great with Tatum up into the playoffs. Then they lose the fucking Sixers. I mean, you gotta you gotta
That
win. So I'm not saying. So obviously the Knicks. I mean, fuck the Hawks and the
the
Sixers and
Hawks.
Cleveland. They should win those fucking series, right? Obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it wasn't hard, obviously, but we'll see. Do they put their money where their mouth is? And they're playing the San Antonio Spurs. Everybody's saying it's such a big step up, and yeah, it is. So it's time to play.
Man, to your point, dude, Jalen Brown or Tatum, they're going to be huge offseason pieces. Obviously, the
Mm-hmm.
Sixers, I'm blowing the Sixers up too. If I'm
Oh
them, you got
yeah,
to blow them up. They stink.
you can't get off Embiid though. That's the problem, bro.
No,
You can't get. No one's
no,
going to take that fucking contract. You're
no.
100% right. And the
I want
Celtics
no
aren't
part of
coming off
Embiid,
of.
man.
And I don't think the Celtics are coming off of Tatum. So I think that if they can move
So Jalen
Brown.
Brown, Jalen
But they're
Brown's a
saying
nice
Jalen
ad, man.
Brown, he's a great ad. So that's something that I'm sure that would intrigue the Bucks for Giannis, right?
Yeah,
So because he's such a good young player. But I agree. I'd blow both of them up. But you can't. The problem is Philly's fucked because they no one's taking that
they
Embiid contract
they
next year.
stink. So they're not a playoff team.
Yeah,
They stink. They don't make the playoffs in the West. They just stink. Maxi's a beast, but I don't know.
great player.
And you
Edgecombe
see
will be good too.
on the champion edge comes a beast. You saw the
Really
Champions
good.
League final. They had Giannis there because he's obviously a soccer fan, and it said Giannis Antetokounmpo, Boston Celtics, like on the
Did it
screen.
really? Did it really?
Yeah,
I
it
didn't see
did.
that.
Yeah,
I
it
didn't
did. I
see
was watching the final. I saw that, and I was like, I guess that's where he's going.
What
Maybe
do
he's
we
going
know?
for Jalen Brown. Obviously, they're leaking that. But one other
That's
thing
funny.
before we get into the rest of the finals, they kept saying in the announcers, man, they're just like they're so trash, dude. I don't know if it was Reggie Miller or whoever kept saying De'Aaron Fox. Like he did a shot, the only player with Game 7 experience. I'm like, his only Game 7 was, I think they were a 2 and the Warriors were a 7, and Steph got 50 on him
Game
in
7.
Sacramento. And it's like,
Game
why do
7.
they keep saying that? Like they live with these narratives, man. They live with the narrative of that Wemby's this and I don't know, whatever. But
Can't
I can't
stand
talk
them.
about shit no more,
I
dude. I
can't
can't.
stand them. I can't stand
It's it,
the announcing is
it
so bad. Reggie
I
Miller
mean,
drives me fucking crazy.
bro,
Yeah.
listen to ESPN radio this morning. They literally there's a guy on there saying that Wemby's the most talented player we've ever seen in NBA history, and I just had to turn it off. I just maybe he's the most
Well,
talented player above 7'4" or whatever. Fine, but I mean,
yeah,
dude,
he's correct. I wouldn't say the most talented. The most talented player is the one that has the most skill set. You have to say that's a
I mean,
Kobe or a Steph,
like
obviously, like can
Iverson,
handles and
Steph,
shoot.
Kyrie,
Yeah,
like those
it's
type
a,
of hand. Yeah, you
yeah. I
know,
mean, imagine if Wemby had Steph's skill set. I mean, that'd be the fucking most insane
if you
thing ever.
took Wemby's skill set and made him 6'4", I mean,
Yeah, not that
it's
great.
just yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. But
of course.
anyway,
But
so the announcers
this,
suck, but so let's get into it, man. So obviously the Knicks, they did play well. I mean, an easy run. To your point,
mhm.
the Spurs had an easy run until they got to the to the Western Conference Finals. If they had played a Lakers team without Luka or something like that, it would have been a similar fucking path, right? But they had to play OKC, who was hurt. To your point, they did smash everyone. They did beat everyone by 50. It was crazy. Obviously, I'm interested to see the Knicks, and I'm gonna have you go through since you know it better than me, who you think each player will guard, because obviously there's a huge, with Mitchell Robinson out, Cat loves to get in foul trouble. So, if Cat gets in
Yeah.
foul trouble, they're going to be in big trouble. So tell me, I guess we don't need to get into how we think it'll end. I will say this, have it on good word that this series is going 7 games. Does that mean that the NBA is cheating to make it go 7 games? I think it does. I'm not going to say
Mhm.
where I heard it from, but it comes from pretty high, and it's crazy. And it would make sense because the Knicks literally only had 2 home games in the last 2 series, and that's the biggest market in the country. These games are expensive. They bring so much to the city and if they can play 3 home games, I mean, that's 50% more revenue in New York. And then obviously, San Antonio games are a lot cheaper. So if anyone can go to a game, hop out there. But tell me how you think it'll go. Who's going to guard Wemby? What do you think the
Yeah.
rotations will look like? Things like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm not, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. But I don't know. Who knows? I'm not a
I didn't make
conspiracy
that shit
theorist
up,
like
dude. I'm
that.
telling you.
I know you did.
I'm not a
I know you didn't
conspiracy
make it up.
theorist.
I know you didn't
I
make
did
it. I know
not
you
make it
heard
up.
it. I know you heard it from somebody. I'm just saying, like, I think, being able to finagle that, the officiate is going to have to be so putrid, and maybe it will be, for them to be
I
able
mean, well, dude.
to do that, because the players want to win. The players aren't in on the let's make this game 7. It's got to be the NBA and the refereeing. I think the players, they want to fucking win a championship, so they're going to go out there and get. So we'll see how the refereeing is, and if they are swaying it one way or the other. That's the
So
only way I think they can make that work.
Castle's a big flopper. He's on the level of SGA, AR, and Luca.
Mm-hmm.
And
He
Jalen
is.
Brunson has a little bit of that in him too. So like I think that's where if you want to turn it, you just call those fouls, because in the beginning of the series when SGA has 16 free throws, or in the games where he has 3 free throws. So that's how they turn it. Obviously you can't direct the entire outcome of the game, but you could really turn the tide. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
anyways,
It'll be
yeah, so
so. To get to your point, man, like, yeah, I think they're going to start Towns out on Wemby, which is going to be challenging, just because Towns is a lot of times flat-footed. I think he's going to try to force Wemby to shoot threes, because Wemby can go around him. Towns picks up a lot of dumb fouls, but I think you'll see OG and Anunoby on him a lot. And he's had success on him in the past. I think OG can guard him from the perimeter. He's much stronger. He can push him around out there, get under him, and beat him to spots. So when Wemby catches the ball on the perimeter or the wing, he's not going to be able to get by him. I think OG is actually a good matchup. And at times, honestly, you might even see Bridges on him some. I think that the challenging part will be, where did they put Brunson, and who they have guarding him. I'm not sure. I think you'll see Castle guard Brunson, which I think is good for Brunson, because Castle is such an emotional. You saw it. He got over his skis in that series a couple times. Very emotional. He plays very aggressively, and I think Brunson, to your point, can draw fouls. He's crafty. He's going to go to angles, and you get Castle and foul trouble. That's going to help the Knicks. So, and that's the only really guy that I think can guard Brunson. But I think Brunson's gonna put him in a lot of compromising spots out there on the court. But I think we'll see Towns start out on Wemby, and the important thing is that Towns, now the way the Knicks are playing, what Mike Brown has implemented is you got Towns on the perimeter running the offense is going through Towns at the top. So what that does is that pulls Wemby away from the paint and the key. So he's not as much of a rim protector. And Towns can stretch the floor. He's one of the best 3-point shooting big men in the NBA. So that's big for the Knicks. Like you get Wemby out from being a rim protector, you open up lanes and you get Towns out, which is how they've been playing. I think is going to be really important, and we'll see how that goes. But you're going to see a revolving door of people who guard Wemby. You'll get Mitchell Robinson in there. They'll be extremely physical with them because we know that's the key to getting Wemby off his game, right? So I think you'll probably see, maybe Josh Hart start on Castle, and maybe Bridges on Vassell, and I think it's there's going to be some wrinkles in there, man. And it's going to be, I think this series honestly is going to come down to Mitch Johnson and Mike Brown and the adjustments they make. I will say, game one, there can't be an overreaction on game one. The Knicks have had so much time off, which could be good because they're rested. But you saw how bad they came out and played in game one of the Cleveland series. They were awful for 3 quarters, and then they just put it together in the fourth and blitzed their asses and came back. But they were flat. You're not going to be able to do that against the Spurs. So it'll be interesting to see if they come out with fresh legs and it's like this, man. I'll put it to you like this. If someone's saying, hey, like, you're going to shoot 1,000 threes and, you got to hit, 70% of them to win $1 million. But you can only shoot, 200 a day and they have to take 3 days off. If that first 200 you shoot at 95%, you want to keep shooting because you don't know what 4 days from now is going to bring, right? You're in a rhythm, you're in a flow. You want to keep shooting. You want to keep, but it's like the Knicks, man. They don't want this time off because they've been playing so good, right? They're in sync. Things are flowing. The offense is flowing. So the layoff hurts them in a big way. It makes them healthy, but they weren't really injured to begin with. But, it gives them some time off. So we'll see, man. I think game one is going to be, and hopefully San Antonio's got tired legs. But I mean, man, they match up. I think they both match up pretty well against each other, which is going to lead to, I think, a really competitive series, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it, man. And to your point, like they're gonna have to throw. I was on a group text earlier, and the one dude was like, "It's gonna be OG primarily guarding Wemby," but I also think like you just got to throw different stuff at him. You throw Hard at him, you throw Bridges at him, you put Cat on him. Obviously, you don't want Cat in foul trouble. But to your point, if Cat can shoot the ball well from distance, which he usually does, I mean that changes the dynamic of the entire thing. What happens when Luke Cornett's in? Luke Cornett isn't going to go out there, so somebody else is going to have to guard him, and that'll be super. I mean, they're going to really like. OKC did a good job in some of those games in the non-Wemby minutes. They almost need a strategy for the non-Wemby minutes. The second Wemby comes off, you got to start attacking, man, because that's what OKC did that. And one thing to your point, like obviously Castle probably guards Brunson. Castle did a great job on Shea. A great job. I mean, he a few games like Shea, I've never seen Shea look lost on offense. He looked a little bit lost because he was getting, he was guarding him so tough. So I think we'll see some of that from Brunson. But Brunson has a way, man. He has a way of getting around pretty much everyone. I don't really know how. In a slow, methodical way, he just always has ever since he came into the league. So
it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's weird. He gets to his spots. It'll be interesting. I'm excited to see how it goes. To your point, OKC came out flat in game one against San Antonio after a layoff. So we're seeing the same thing. Obviously, the Knicks came out flat, and obviously Cleveland, if they were a real playoff team, I mean, you can't give that. That was crazy. Obviously, awesome to watch, but insane in game one. Yeah. So, they can't do that. San Antonio is so good, there won't be swings like that. I think the Knicks are good enough that there won't be swings like that. If somebody goes, down 15, the game's still in reach. If somebody goes down 25, man, or 20, it's like 20, like low 20s. It's going to be tough. So
it's tough. Agree.
Yeah. Agree. So we got 2 games in San Antonio. Obviously, San Antonio, they have it set up like a soccer stadium where they're all like chanting and stuff, and they wear their T-shirts. And stadium's kind of, it's old and weird and just like it's not a vibe at all.
It's not at all. We've been there.
No, it's not it, man. One of the worst like VIP areas, like pregame and like halftime and stuff. Obviously, like they have a good vibe on the court though. The fans get into it and stuff. They don't have anything else there. There's no football. Like there's just nothing else there. This is what they got. and so they're rocking. But I'm interested to see. Obviously, the information we have says Game 7. I mean, I think it'll be a tight series. So, you
I do
know,
too. I
I
do
mean,
too.
I don't know.
Bro, dude, let me just say this, man. Let me say this. The Garden, New York Knicks, back in the NBA Finals. The fucking Madison Square Garden, New York, New York is going to be wild. It's going to be insane. You look at the ticket prices. I mean, the passionate fan base, the Knicks fans have been starving for this, right? OKC has had, not OKC, I'm sorry, San Antonio's had success. Obviously, much more recent than the Knicks have. But it's going to be wild. And wish I was there. I won't be, but gonna watch, and it's gonna be something, bro. It's gonna be. I mean, I can't. The energy in that building is gonna be something that I'll probably never experience, but I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, the Knicks fans are going to take over San Antonio too, which hasn't happened yet for them. It's
Yeah,
going to happen. I will say
yeah,
this too.
you're gonna
Like
find a way.
obviously international sports, soccer, like World Cup. I've been to Euro matches, which is kind of like the World Cup of Europe. I've been to Champions League matches, and like those are a vibe way better than any. I mean, I've been to NFL playoff games, NBA Finals games. It doesn't match. I think the Knicks in Madison Square Garden in a game 4 if they're down 2-1, in a game 6, if they need to win it to stay in it or whatever, like is going to be something close to that. Also at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, I think it's game 4 or 6. There's also a World Cup match either the day before or the day after at
Oh
at
shit!
at the Meadowlands. So it's like it's going to be a
Really?
vibe there, man. Yeah,
At
because
MetLife, huh?
yeah,
Damn.
the World Cup Finals
Wow.
is there, right? But that's not
I
till
know
like
that.
late July.
The
I
finals are at
think
MetLife, at the Meadowlands
yeah,
at MetLife.
the World
Oh
Cup
shit.
Finals is in New York or Jersey, whatever you want
Oh,
to call it. And maybe
it's
it's mid.
Jersey, but
Yeah,
it's
it's
Jersey,
like
but
it's like early to mid. It's like July 10th or 11th or something like that
hmm
of the final. So obviously these are going to be all group stage matches and things like that. But the city's going to be buzzing because of the Knicks. The city's going to have people from all over the world, and I forget who's playing at that in that specific group stage game. But it's going to be a vibe there, man. So I mean, I'm gonna go like I'm wearing these New York Knicks threes every day until
Come
the
on.
series is over. I do I do not I do not want to see Victor Wembanyama cry again. Well, he's going to cry either way, whether they win or lose. Which I
True.
get. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not hitting on him for crying, dude. Like when I was growing up playing sports, I mean, I was emotional enough too. I get it, but you
Not,
don't. You don't
bro.
act that way. I mean,
Not yet.
he know I mean you didn't win anything yet, right? And that's just the reality. Obviously, to your point,
Yep.
maybe the Spurs were the big bad wolf, or they didn't think they were going to come back and beat them, or who knows, right? Winning a game 7 on the road's tough, especially when you don't shoot the ball and you don't play well and you're a ghost at 7'8" with those long ass arms. You got 7 rebounds, 1 rebound in the second half, bro. Like maybe that's why. Maybe he knew like I don't deserve this. I don't know what his deal was, but I hope that the Knicks take him out of his game, and they need to be physical with him. The Suns had success earlier this season. They put Grayson Allen or Dylan Brooks and hit Wemby right at the free throw line, and just be physical with him, man. He can't. And obviously, like, look, dude, he's he weighs the same amount probably as Dylan Brooks does, right? Dylan Brooks is 6'6", right? So you got to be physical. He doesn't like it. He doesn't handle it well, and they need to push it in the beginning of the game. The first quarter, be extra physical, focus on him. Doesn't matter if he kicks the ball and somebody else hits a shot. You keep him out of the game because when he doesn't start well, man, he has a really hard time turning it on. There's not
hmm
very many games in these playoffs that he was able to turn it on after a tough start. So you want to get him out of his rhythm. Obviously, now, I mean, obviously, Champagny saved that game. I mean, the guy probably hit 5 or 6 threes in that game.
Yes.
He was
Yeah.
he was the one that really. I mean, they made every damn 3-pointer in that fourth quarter, dude. It was nasty. Like every time you
Statistically,
thought,
he looked great. I didn't see the
yeah,
game, but
every time you thought like shit, they're down 6. Like every time they'd get there, three, they'd be down 2, 3, down 3. Like it was just, I mean, it was crazy. So if I gun to my head, man, I don't even want to pick anyone. I know you're gonna say Knicks in 7. I think.
got to, got to. I think
I
I'm gonna
I'm
say
gonna say
I'm going with my heart, bro. Fuck it.
I
I'm
want the
saying
Knicks to
Knicks
win,
is
bro, so bad.
yeah. Yeah,
I
but
mean,
speak how you feel. Speak if you had $1 million on it. I'm gonna say Knicks in 7. I want to say Knicks in 6 because I think that'd be amazing. But I don't know if they can win in 6. I think it'll go 7, and game 7's a toss up, and I think it's going to be maybe one of those Jalen Brunson 38-point performances where he cements his legacy as shit. If Brunson does something like that, they're gonna say he's the greatest Nick of all. You know what I'm saying? Like, or second greatest Nick of all time. They're gonna put him in that category with
It's
Frazier, and Ewing never won, bro. It's gonna be Frazier.
It's been fucking 50 years since you guys won a chip, right? It's like,
yeah.
yeah, he is the greatest, Nick, because obviously winning a championship at this era, obviously we're younger, but it's just not
different.
The same, man. Yeah,
it's not the same.
and obviously, and also when you're Steph size or smaller, it's different too. If you can do it at that size, the way he's been doing it, man, it's
no one's done it
different.
except for Steph. I mean, Isaiah Thomas. You can say Isaiah Thomas, but Steph, but we've talked about this, man, and Becky Hammond is been in the media a lot saying that you can't win because and shit. That's what's great about sports, man. People can talk all they want. In sports, you have the ability to change the narrative and to prove them wrong, and the outcome is on him, and he can be one of the outliers, and it's going to be an outlier because we haven't seen it, right? Like Steph is obviously an anomaly. Aside from Steph, you can go back to Isaiah, but it doesn't happen when your 1A player is a small, shoot first point guard. It's just doesn't happen.
Jalen Brunson's your size, pretty much.
Yep. It's crazy. So yeah, I'm saying Knicks in 7. What you got, man?
I would love Knicks in 6. I would love the Spurs to lose one of the first 2 games, hopefully the first one, and then the Knicks keep home court. I think for that to happen, for them to get a one on the road, it's going to need to be, I'm going to say, obviously, I think OG might have a game, but we might need a Bridges 20 piece. And I don't, and this might not be a popular opinion. I don't want to see very much Miles McBride because he has that Jared McCain in him where he doesn't play enough that when he comes in, he forces it, man. And if he lets it come to him, he can shoot it. But when he forces that shit, dude, it's like, if you look at the minutes the Knicks play, there's going to be a game where the starters play 40 plus and Miles McBride has 14 minutes. And if he goes 1 for 6 from 3, which is what he's done, that's going to be criminal. So I hope that if he comes in, that he lets the game come to him, man, because if he does, it'll be different. But if he forces that shot, like, you don't need to try to prove to the coach that you can shoot so he leaves you in because he's not going to play you or he's going to play you. It doesn't matter at this point. So we'll see. I think we need a Mikal Bridges 20 piece in the first 2 games to try to get one of those. Cat will be decent. Brunson will get 30.
OG will be good. Yeah, and you need to your point. I mean, Shamit's been great. You need Shamit and McBride to give you good minutes, not force anything, hit open shots. That's why they're out there.
Shamit might play more than McBride. He might.
He probably will because he's a bit of a better defender. I think they both defend pretty well, but Shamit's been playing. He's been good on the defensive end too. So, and then honestly, dude, you also need Mitchell Robinson to be effective, and that's offensive rebounding. He's one of the best offensive rebounders in the game. He needs to roll and catch lobs toward the basket and be effective defensively, man. That's all they need from him. So,
they need to tape that shit up and play him in the beginning of every quarter when he doesn't need to shoot free throws because he can't, and he has a broken pinky, so he's definitely not going to be, So he plays before you're in the bonus because obviously if you're in the bonus, you just foul him. Right.
Yeah.
So you play him a lot and then Cat plays the end of the quarters. Right. And, it's still every time I think of Landry Shamet, I think of what the Suns should have been when they had Shamet and they had Bridges and they had Campaign and Book and fucking, dude, and KD too, right? And fucking, Cam Johnson, Book, KD.
Yeah.
Dude, stacked. Also, Devin Booker, man, I love you in Phoenix, but get your ass the hell out of the Western Conference, bro. You're not fucking. The Suns think they're going to get Giannis, and if you do, you're not going to have anyone left. You're not getting out of the West, man. I would say go play in Detroit, but Jalen Duren's up for a max, and if you give that guy a max, you might as well fucking call it because that dude was worse than Jalen Green in the playoffs. He was awful. That dude is going to get $50 million. So maybe if your Book needs to go to the Garden, bro, or go to Boston.
I'd love that. Come to the Garden, Book.
Yeah, Mikal Bridges, and 2 first-round picks or whatever. Send him. Yeah, I don't know, but probably that's not enough for Book. But still, no, he needs to get out of Phoenix though, man. And I love Phoenix and I love Book, man. But that's what this Western Conference this year told me. The Lakers are going to be better than they were. The Portland's up and coming. Utah's up and coming. OKC and Spurs are going to be here for fucking 10 years.
I think
And
the Nuggets are going to make a move too, bro. I think the Nuggets will make a move of some sort, and they still got
yeah,
Jokic.
and Michael Porter Jr. is going to be a big piece this offseason too. There's going to be a bunch of big pieces, like more movement than we normally see, because you don't see a Jalen Brown and a Michael Porter Jr. and a Giannis and all these people, but they got to blow these teams up. So,
Yes, sir.
if Book, if maybe, and they're not going to trade Book. So I hope somehow, I don't know, man, but they got to get off of Jalen Green, just like the Rockets did. But anyway, man, Knicks in 6. I hope. Knicks in 6. Knicks in 6.
Come on,
Um,
come on
man,
now,
dude,
come on, Knicks.
we got it. We need it, man. They know, dude. They got it. They got to come out and just get into Wemby's chest, man. He doesn't want it, bro. He does not want it. He wants it a little more than Chet does, but not much more.
Prove Matt
So,
right, Wemby. Prove Matt right, and cower and be soft, and everything
elbow
Matt says
people,
about you, everything
bro.
Matt says about you, prove him right for my sake,
We
so my boys
we
will win the championship.
I got roasted in the comments on my last Wemby rant, and everyone kept saying if he elbowed someone, how is he soft? And I'm like, that's actually the definition of being soft, because he hit Naz Reid in the neck, knowing that he didn't have to. He's not going to fight him. He hits him in the neck because he's a baby. That doesn't make you not soft. If Naz Reid hit him and he got up and punched him, or you thought that he might, then he's not soft. But he's soft. He's Charmin soft. There's no way. He
Well,
is
Twitter
not
pictures
tough.
suck.
He's not tough, and I don't expect him to be tough. But like that move, first of all, he should have got suspended. I don't think Minnesota beats San Antonio anyways. But don't tell me he's tough. He's not. He doesn't want it, and I don't know, dude. I hope the Knicks take this shit out. Let's fucking go. Let's bring a chip to
Come
the
on,
Garden,
let's
man.
fucking get it.
Haven't
Come
seen
on,
one
let's
in
get
our
it.
lifetime. The Knicks haven't been really good in what 25 years. So
Yep,
it's time.
something like that.
It's time.
Man. Hell yeah.
So. All right, man. Well,
All right.
shit, we've been waiting for this for a minute. If you guys are still sitting on ice, man, it's getting better. It's timeless. I got a new favorite every time. I still don't even know the words to half the songs, and I've been listening to it like crazy. So
Fucking out of here. That album's out of here. I'm telling you, man. Like every listen to your point, I had a long drive back from this wedding. Ran through the whole thing. I mean, he delivered, bro. And it's growing on a lot of people. It is what it is. You can't hate on it. That album is album of the year easily. Best rap album in a long time. Shout out to Drake for delivering.
Iceman season.
Yeah. Iceman season, dog.
All right.
All
One thing you can't do.
Make
Can't do it. You can't. Cheese taste, bro.
Let's go, Knicks.
Let's go. Knicks and 6.